So I thought I'd make this video to show you the best way for you to make an assignment and share assignment with your students, especially using the Google Chromebooks that we have now. So I wanted to show you a couple different screens here. This is my Google Drive here. These are my Google Classrooms. Now I also have where I can show you what the student view would be like. And I have Ms. Hicks as my student, and here's the class that we're going to work with today. So let me go back to the view of the teacher. All right, so here's your class. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the class because I want to show you a couple different things. So this is my class. I haven't added an assignment yet. Anytime you make a class, Google sets up a classroom folder right here, and all your classes will be inside that classroom folder. Now, don't change the name or anything, leave it classroom. So if I double click inside of that, you see every class that I have is in this, including this test class. So Google does that automatically, so don't change anything. If I go into this test class right now, you can see I don't have any assignments at all, so there's nothing to show here yet. So anyway, let's go back out. Again, it's in Classroom. So let's go make an assignment for your students. The first thing with a Chromebook that you have to be aware of, do not use a Microsoft product to give your students. You can work with a Microsoft product. You can do a Word document, but before you share it with your students, change it to a Google Doc or something Google, because the Chromebooks do not like any of the Microsoft products. They open up as an image and the students can do nothing with them. So make sure that you, when you share a document, make sure it's a Google related document. Okay, so here I'm going to set up something. I'm going to click on the plus, and I always do assignments because assignments give you the most versatility of things you can do. If you're just putting a note or something, that's fine, make an announcement or something like that. But to actually have students share things back and forth, you have to go to create assignment. So I click on create assignment. When you name things, name it. Start thinking about exactly how you want to name it. You need to get in a habit of naming things the same way. For instance, if this is an assignment for test class, I always have that I put test class, whatever the class's name, 001, then I put a colon, and in this case this is going to be assignment 1. Now, I wouldn't put a 1 like that because if you're looking for things to be in alphabetical order and numeric order, the best way to do it is I always put 001. I always have a 3-digit number because I know I'm not, for this class, have more than 999 assignments, so there's no way that I'll have that different. And always practice, try to have everything exactly named so you can look for things easily. So anyway, 001. Then there's 2 places you could put the directions. You could actually put the directions in the Google document that you're going to share with your students, or the Google slide, or whatever you're going to share with your students, or you can put it here. Or you can put it both places. But I'm just going to put directions here. I think I copied it. It just says directions and gibberish here. But you can put it there, or you can put it in your document. You'll see the document in a second. You can put a due date here. I would suggest starting to put what topics are in here. For instance, say that this topic, this assignment was on Greece, and I'm just going to put it all lowercase to make it consistent. That way, if you have multiple assignments on Greece, the students can search for it that way, because the order that it will put the assignments is the latest one is always at the top, so it's sometimes hard for students to find it. So if they have a topic that they can go by, get used to doing that. That really makes things easier. Now, don't paperclip items. You should assign it from your Google Drive. So whatever assignment you're doing, make sure you put it in your Drive, and I'll show you that in a minute. So I click on my Drive button. It asks me where I want to find it from. In this case, I just created it, so it's going to be in my recent, but if it wasn't, I would go to my Drive, I would look in, if it was in this, if you have certain classes, I would have a folder made for that class name where all the assignments are. So I have one that I made, and I double click on that, and here's the assignment I want. So I'm gonna click. Then you notice it assigned it right there. Notice it's a Google Doc. Here's a big thing that you need to do once you put that in there using your Google Drive. Make sure you put that, make a copy for each student. The reason you make a copy for each student, as soon as they open it up, it saves them a copy. They don't have to save it. They don't have to do anything right away. It makes that copy, and then it's easy for them to share back with you. So make sure it's make a copy for each student. So you don't need any, unless you're going to attach a YouTube video or some research material for the link, you don't need any of that. Once you have all that, make sure that if it's assigned to multiple classes, you've done that, and it's always all students. You can assign it to separate students, but usually it's all students. And then once you do that, hit assign. Now, what I want to show you is once you do that, so here's my assignment. Let's go look at what happened to both the drive, and let's look what happened to the student. So first, let's look at my drive. I go to classroom, then I go to that class. Notice now it has a folder it created automatically that's called test class. This is where all your students' assignments are going to come. So it's one place, and Google did that for you. Definitely do not delete this thing that says templates, do not edit. That's something that Google creates to show where everything goes. Definitely don't move that in there. So anyway, it has it. Right now, if I click on this, it has one assignment that was assigned to Nancy Hicks, which is my only student. You would have a bunch here, so you could check at any time what their progress is on this by clicking on this. Now, they haven't submitted it to me, so they haven't said that it's done yet. But it's still here. You could look at it if you want. So let's look at the student side of things. So this is Ms. Hicks' student account. So I would go in this class. Notice she received this as an assignment. Notice it has a tag of Greece, and that she just has an open sign, and that is not complete yet. Here's the directions here. So I made that Google document, so let's open it. So in this, right away, she has a copy of this. You have an add button, which you shouldn't need unless you're going to add something. You have a create button, which you shouldn't need because you're going to write right on this document. So I would double click on it, and this would open the document. It's assigned right to Nancy Hicks, so I know that right away. I also put the directions in here, and I said use this Google Doc to record your information, delete directions when you're finished. So if I was going to work on this, I would put that my name is Nancy Hicks. This is my assignment on Greece. And then after that, I would put all the information that I needed. Now, once I have all this information on here, you don't have to do any, I don't have to share it because it's already going to be shared with my teacher in that document. I don't have to do anything but click turn in. So the student will turn it in. Okay. It says, are you sure you want to turn it in? And I would say, yes, I want to turn it in. Okay. So if they wanted to make an addition or edit, they could unsubmit it, but in this case, it's turned in. So let's go back and look at the teacher's view. So now if I go to the teacher's view, I notice that one student has turned in their assignment. So there's a couple places you can see this assignment. One, you can go back to, let's go back. You can go back to the classroom that they created, go back to that class and go into the class. And this is the assignment now. She's turned it in. I could open that, and if I open it, notice the changes have been made. So I could take, once that's finished, I could click on, second, just give it a second to catch up. I could click on comment, and I could make a comment here. Hey, it looks great, but add more details. Then I can send that back to the student. Let me show you how to do that. So that's one way you could look at it and comment, or even easier, let me go back to all this so I can have that at the beginning. When I go to my class, if I click on one that is done, here's a paper right here. So right here, I can double click on it. And again, you see the assignment. It takes a second for it to come up. And you see my edit I put here before, so you could put clicks and different things on it like that. Do whatever you need to do. If it looks fine, you can simply go back to this, and then you can go ahead and add a grade. And then you're finished. So, or you can say right here that you can send it back to them and have them resubmit it later. So there's multiple ways you can do this. The big takeaways from this is make sure when you assign something to your, you click this button and it would return that assignment to her. Because I'm in that one right now, it would return it, so you could return it and have them resubmit it. But the big takeaways from this is when you set up an assignment, one, make sure you're using Google type documents and slides and things like that, because then your students will be able to open it. The other thing is make sure you make a copy for each student and you pull it from your Google Drive. If you clip on it or anything like that, it does some things that are different, and it doesn't make this smooth transition. So remember that Google sets up a classroom for you. All your different classes are in it. When you go to each class, when you make an assignment, it makes a folder for those assignments, and inside those folders is each of your students' papers. So it makes it very easy to share back and forth. You never have to hit the share button. All you have to do is close it, and both people have access to it. Okay? Hope that makes things a little clearer. If not, come see me.